So, of course, we know that the Big 12 Conference announced Tuesday that it has authorized Commissioner Bob Bowlsby to begin exploring expansion candidates. AKA, the expansion is going to happen. You know, people, there are still those doubters, and maybe they're just trying to get those clickbaits, if I could talk, that are saying it's not going to happen. The Big 12 will expand, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to happen. And no more, whatever. It's going to happen. I'm just going to say that. Whether the 2 to 4 members, I don't know about 4. That is a stretch. I mean, I don't know. I think just 2 is going to be okay. I think they're going to be okay with just 2 of them. Now, the Big 12 board members met in Irving to deliberate on the merits of expansion, hearing presentations from 2 paid consultants on the issue. Now, Bowlsby is expected to begin, and probably already did and has been contacted, contacted schools to gauge their interest in the Big 12 in the coming days. Quote, this is what Oklahoma's president and board chairman David Boren said, quote, it's a forward step, a positive step. Not a decision, not yet a decision, but it shows momentum on the board to consider expansion as a possibility. It's going to happen, Boren. Just don't worry about it. It's going to happen. Now, Boren also said the expansion by both 2 or 4 schools will be on the table moving forward, and this is how soon it could get done. Bowlsby told ESPN that it's conceivable the conference would be ready to vote on specific expansion candidates before the board's regularly scheduled meeting in October. I mean, this could be speeded up pretty quick. Obviously, the main schools that have all been behind the scenes and it's been talked about are from the AAC: Cincinnati, Connecticut, Memphis, Houston, Central Florida, and BYU as a football independent. They all want to jump. Colorado State's also jumped out, as we talked about earlier, to the Big 12 leaders. And that one, they probably have the least chance, but it would be interesting. That stuff is necessary. So they said that, you know, what they're looking for is attendance, obviously competitiveness, but I mean, you look at some of these schools and it's like, not very too much. The problem, everyone wants to throw in Houston, right? It looks like BYU is going to be the shoe-in because now they're not. The only worry they had was with a little bit with their TV deal, but now with Longhorn Network having theirs, they're going to be like, all right, you want to have yours? Fine, we're going to add another team that has theirs, and there you go. You're going to be on it, and you're not getting any money, just like you do with everybody else. So BYU, and the other thing was the scheduling and not playing on Sundays for other sports. Obviously, college football doesn't play on Sundays, but other sports play on Sundays. And they're willing to work around it. So everything else that BYU has, they currently fit that module right now. So BYU's in to the Big 12. They're shooing. Now it's finding someone else. And everyone wants to bring up Houston, and rightfully so because of what they're doing right now. And I'm not saying that they won't have success later on. Obviously, I believe Tom Herman's going to stay at Houston until a big-time job. And when I say big-time, I'm not talking about Texas because Texas isn't big-time right now. And he's not leaving Houston for Texas. I'm putting it out there right now. It's not happening. I'm talking USC. I would say Miami right now. Maybe Florida State. A lot of these jobs that won't come up, but I'm talking about those big-time jobs. He's not going to leave. I don't see it. I don't see him leaving. People misunderstand Houston. The problem that Houston faces right now is that while they want to get into a big conference like the Big 12, all the Texas schools, and probably even Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, they don't want Houston to be on the same level as them. Right now, you've got Houston at a very prominent level right now with the success of the football team that they're having, right? So they're already up there. They're getting recruits, right? And I'm not saying that it stops them from getting recruits, but when a Big 12 school says, this is who we face every week, and this is what the exposure you're going to get compared to Houston, it starts leveling. It doesn't level out anymore, if that makes sense to you guys. So that's the problem. If it was the Pac-12 that was wanting to expand, and the SEC, I doubt the Big Ten would want to go Texas, but I'm just saying if it was one of those Power 5 conferences that wanted to expand like that, Houston would be a shoo-in as well. They would jump right in because there isn't a majority of the teams that are willing to vote no. There are a lot of teams, 4 teams in particular in the state of Texas, that will vote no for Houston joining in because they don't want them on the same level. It's not about competition each week. It's just there's that recruiting edge. It's a money edge. They don't want them on the same level. So Houston, it's going to be tough. And I'm not crossing them out right now. But the odds are not really in their favor. Cincinnati, it looks like they're also the shoo-in. So if you're going by just twos, it'll be Cincinnati and BYU. Cincinnati, they need to go East Coast. They have to. They cannot go, obviously BYU is the only West Coast, but they could not go BYU Colorado State. That would absolutely kill West Virginia because they got to keep the costs down. They're trying to keep every cost down because they're not going to make as much money with these schools. So trying to get West Virginia for all sports, again, we're not just talking about college football, all sports, to get them to go travel all the way to Colorado State. BYU, obviously they would split divisions, but it'd just be a pain. So why not make it even? Add BYU. Get the West Coast. You got Iowa State. You got Texas teams that are out in the West, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Kansas. They all go quick trip BYU to Utah, right? You go East Coast, get a partner for West Virginia. West Virginia's done a pretty good amount successfully for all sports to the Big 12. Reward them, get them Cincinnati. Cincinnati and West Virginia is not really a rivalry as West Virginia and Pittsburgh is, but it would be something special. And Cincinnati, they stretch the mark on competitiveness, but they have been to bowl games about the past 6-7 years. Basketball, very solid program, and you bring them up with the Big 12. Recruiting might pick up, as well as money will pick up for them. Baseball, I don't know if they have a softball team. Women's basketball, they were pretty good a few years ago. I haven't checked on them now, but there you go. You add something. I know UConn is they are the one you want to add because of the money and the exposure and the market. Competitiveness, not there. Women's basketball would be fun for the Big 12. Men's basketball, definitely fun in the Big 12 with UConn. Football, not so much. Not so much. And you would have to split some of the Texas teams, and most likely TCU and Baylor being probably the Western Texas teams. Or if you put TCU in Texas or Baylor in Texas, them flying out to UConn, it's not going to be that fun for any of the sports. And UConn flying all the way down, not going to be that fun. Cincinnati, BYU, those are my 2 picks. If they go for it, it's Cincinnati, BYU, Houston, UConn. I think those would be. I think if it goes 4, Houston will get in. There's no way they can go 4 and ignore Houston, even with the votes. They would have to say, look, we're going 4, we have to get them in. Central Florida and then South Florida, it'd be fun for them. For the Big 12, they're kind of in the same boat as UConn, where you get that Florida market, but Central Florida and South Florida not competitive at all in any sports whatsoever. I know a few years ago Central Florida was, but not so much. So what do you do? Memphis, I guarantee you, had Justin Fuente stayed at Memphis would have been a team except for Cincinnati. I think you replace those. And I think Memphis would be a shoo-in because their basketball program's there for both sports, for both men's and women's. And then baseball, I don't know. Football, Justin Fuente, what he's done, and what he would have continued at Memphis, would have been a shoo-in with that market. FedEx as a sponsor, what no one else can do out of those, the money that FedEx could bring in, Memphis would have been an absolute shoo-in right now. But it's too much question mark. So that's mine. Who are yours? If it's just 2, who are your 2 members and why? Don't just say, oh, Houston because I'm a fan and you suck. No. Tell me why. I mean, you can still put it. I can't stop you. But be reasonable. Why Houston? And also, and how would Houston and the Big 12, the people that are in favor for Houston to join, how do they convince Texas, TCU, Baylor, Texas Tech to come in there and be equals with them? That's a tough one. And then if it's gonna go 4, who are those? And how do you split them up? East, West? Do you call it something brand new? I saw someone say it was gonna be East, West divisions, and then they just dropped the Big 12 name completely, and they go by a new conference name. They didn't put one. They didn't say what it would be called, but that'd be interesting to see as well. Let me know in the comment section down below, and those are mine. It's gonna be exciting to see.